It is my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you the President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
President Trump. Yep. Get used to the way that sounds. We'll tell you what the nation's 45th president-elect had to say in the early morning hours and how many Iowans came out to vote for him.
Iowans react, some with cheers, others with fear for the future, where Iowans watched from last night and the range of emotions they have about a Trump presidency.
Plus, serious shift. Iowa State House sees a big change of tides. The key races that led to Republicans taking power in both the House and the Senate. It's Wednesday, November 9th. Today in Iowa starts now.
From WHO HD, the local news leader. This is Channel 13 News, Today in Iowa.
Here is a live look at our nation's capital, waking up to an election shocker after a nail-biting night ends with projections Donald Trump will win the White House. And we have just learned President Obama has called Donald Trump to congratulate him and has scheduled a meeting with his successor tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you saw the picture there. The sun did rise. Again, some people wondering maybe a little bit about that today. But yeah, everything continues on. And we continue on with a look at the weather with Jerry Ann. And you could feel a little cold slap in the face this morning.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's probably hard to get out of bed this morning as you're waking up to lows the coldest so far this week in the 30s. We do have some frost showing up in a few spots. This afternoon will be sunny and it is going to warm up fast today. By noon, we'll be up to 60 degrees. We'll go from the 40s at 8 a.m. to 60s at noon and mid 60s by 5 o'clock. Note the winds, they should be fairly light out of the southwest. Looks like the winds will be stronger tomorrow, and that's going to help us get even warmer. I'll show you those temperatures coming up. Right now, we need to update you on the traffic situation and find out if there's anything slowing you down. And for that, we go to Jim Brown.
Good morning. Might be some tired drivers on the road this morning. It's been kind of a long day, so just take it easy as you're coming in. This is I-8035 at 2nd Avenue looking off to the east. It's so nice to see the sun or the sky getting a little bit lighter this early in the morning. Traffic moving well, no delays there. 235 at 2nd Avenue. Looking back toward the downtown, no problems at all. It's an incident accident-free ride in. We'll have an update straight ahead on Today in Iowa.
Okay, thank you so much. First on 13, Americans are waking up to the news that Donald Trump will be the next president.
It was an election surprise that all unfolded just hours ago.
I've just received a call from Secretary Clinton.
Trump took the stage shortly after 1 a.m. our time to say that Clinton had phoned him to concede the election. Soon after, NBC projected him as the winner, though that is not official yet. But Trump already has more than the 270 electoral votes needed to win. In his first speech as president-elect, Trump said he's going to work on bridging a divided nation after a grueling election.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
Trump also won the state of Iowa by about 10 points. That's even higher than polls were predicting just days ago.
We are still waiting to hear from Hillary Clinton. There were tears at her campaign headquarters last night as the news came down. Instead of hearing from their candidate, they heard from her campaign chairman. He urged everyone to go home and get some sleep. Soon after, Hillary Clinton called Trump to concede. We expect Clinton to address supporters at some point this morning. No word when that will be.
Trump's win came as a surprise to much of the nation, but others say they saw it coming.
I go to Drake University. I had a bet with all my classmates. I was the only one that thought Iowa was going to win. Go red, and looks like we did, obviously, so I'm pretty thrilled about that.
Trump's Iowa supporters gathered last night at the Des Moines Marriott. It was a night of cheers. Many told us going in they felt confident that their hard work would pay off.
Across town, it was a very different mood among Clinton's supporters.
A very backward movement. A lot of work that's gone into the last 10 years is just going to kind of unravel and be undone.
Iowa Democrats spent their night glued to the TV at Forte in downtown Des Moines. They entered election night with a calm confidence, but that mood quickly changed once the results began to trickle in. There were yells of disapproval as it was announced that Trump won key states. Clinton supporters representing Iowa's black and gay populations say they fear they will lose the social progress they've made. This is just the second time in the last 8 presidential elections that a Republican has won the state of Iowa.
Now we want to get you caught up in some of the local races. The race for Iowa's U.S. Senate seat goes to Charles Grassley, an easy win over Patty Judge there. For House, Republican Rod Blum gets reelected over Democrat Monica Vernon. In the 2nd District, it's Democrat Dave Loebsack over Republican challenger Christopher Peters. District 4 goes once again to Republican Steve King. And here in District 3, it's Republican David Young headed back to the Capitol for another term. After Word of the News, his challenger Jim Maurer told the crowd that it's time for the country to come together.
The big news out of the State House, a major shift in power. Take a look at the Iowa State Senate. The Republicans have reclaimed the majority. You can see the comparison here. One spot left vacant will be voted on later. That will likely go Democratic. And the former Senate Majority Leader, Democrat Mike Gronstall, loses to Republican challenger Dan Dawson. Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds says it's time to get to work and do what Iowans elected them to do.
It goes back to the candidates and how hard they worked, and how when you're face to face with Iowans and you're talking about your vision, that's reflected, I think, in the polls that we're seeing tonight. So I think, we've got the right vision. Evidently Iowans believed in that, and they're ready to go.
Republicans also continue their majority in the State House.
Well, today is a day that many of us have been waiting for. After all, it's the day after the election, meaning it's over. We sent Joshua in to stake out a polling place to get some voter reaction after people had walked out, having already punched their ballots. Josh joins us now from a very quiet polling station in Sherman Hill to tell us a little bit about what he found there. Good morning, Josh.
Hey, good morning, Andy. It was pretty busy here yesterday when we were here around noon. We saw all different kinds of reaction, people kind of cheering with their arms up and people kind of dejected because they were nervous of what was going on. But we did find some common ground with voters who punched their ballot yesterday. They were excited that all this was finally over.
I've been wanting this to be over for weeks now.
It's finally over.
I feel relieved that it's over.
We did it. We made it through another political season.
I feel great. Yeah, it was. I hope that it made a difference. That's
Hey, we don't agree on much when it comes to politics, but that look we just got from Aaron is one we've all had. We could list off all the strange and weird things we've seen this year, but let's be honest, we'd be here for a while. I think it's safe to say that the 2016 race for the White House is one we'll never forget.
No, this is definitely the most exhausting.
I think the most disappointing thing has been how polarizing the season has been.
No matter who you voted for, I think we can agree on one thing. We hope this goes a little smoother the next time.
I thought America was better than some of our behaviors have shown this election season. So, it'd be nice for us to get back to a little more of a camaraderie.
We talked to, a dozen or so people yesterday as they were leaving here, and the first thing they talked about was being relieved that this was all over and they could go back to no more political ads and no more signs in yards. And the second thing that a lot of them said is that they hope that next time we do this in 4 years, we're a little nicer to one another. So found a couple things that we could agree on. Happy it's over, and let's all be a little nicer next time.
Some pretty deep wounds out there. I have to do a lot of healing first, but right, that's 4 years away. Thank you, Josh.
Even after the polls were closed, dozens of voters in Norwalk were still waiting to fill out a ballot.
I drove by about 3 times and it was a line. I was like, oh, I'll go later, there won't be a line. And it was a line every time. And I had a friend come out and he said, oh, it'll be about 2 hours, and I thought he was kidding.
He wasn't. Last-minute voters in Norwalk's 4th precinct waited 2 hours to cast their vote. Firefighters even passed out chili to voters as they waited. Poll officials say they had problems from the start. The site was missing power cords to voting machines and the password to access ballots in some of the machines. That kept officials from using them for hours. The polling site ended up closing around 10:30. After it closed, volunteers had to hand count hundreds of ballots that were not calculated by the voting machine. Here in Polk County, election night was mostly smooth sailing. Polk County Auditor Jamie Fitzgerald says the most common issues were voters showing up to the wrong precinct only to be crunched for time heading to the right one. We won't get numbers on voter turnout until later.
We have been talking about this election for so long. I'm not sure what we should talk about next, right? It's been a couple of years at this point. How about weather? We can talk a little bit about that, right?
And tomorrow is Winter Weather Awareness Day in Iowa.
Okay.
And it will be the warmest day of the week. Kind of fitting, right? No.
Yeah.
52 is our average high, 34 is our average low. We're starting off close to that this morning. It's chilly. It will be even colder Saturday morning. I'll show you the warm up in between when we come back.
From WHO HD, the local news leader. You're watching Channel 13 News, Today in Iowa.